In today's Innovation Spotlight, I'm speaking with Will Machin, Territory Manager at HC21, distributors of the product, which is the focus of today's Innovation Spotlight. Will, thanks for joining me on the podcast.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
So, before we get into detail, can you just give us a brief introduction to HC21 and what the company does?
Yeah, so the Healthcare 21 Group is one of Europe's leading medical device distributors. We partner with nearly 100 of the world's top healthcare companies. Since 2003, we've helped bring innovative medical technologies to market through expert sales, marketing, logistics. Our portfolio spans across 14 medical divisions, which include endoscopy, critical care, surgical, neonatal care, and most recently, moving and handling and falls management solutions, which is obviously where the Raizer fits in.
Right, and that is what we're talking about today. So I alluded to what this does at the beginning of the podcast, but it's probably best if you explain it to everybody. Just what is the Raizer II? And just for clarity, that's spelt Raiz or Zer 2.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. So the Raizer 2, it's a battery-powered mobile lifting chair. It's designed to help a fallen person to rise to an almost standing position within minutes. It's specifically intended for non-emergency falls and can be operated by a single assistant, requiring minimal physical effort. The device is controlled via a panel on the seat or a remote control, making it simple and intuitive to use.
So what I saw when I met you for the first time and I saw the product, it
Yep.
almost looks like a kit of parts. So exactly how does it work? And what do you mean by non-emergency?
Absolutely, yeah. So the Raizer, it works by assembling it around the fallen individual, which is why there's minimal sort of manual handling or physical effort required. So if somebody has a fall, that on the back, you can assemble the Raizer around the fallen individual. So you sort of slide the seat underneath, and then you attach the four legs, and then the two backrests.
And that's while the person is laying on the floor, in this instance, on their back. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's, as long as they're on the back, you can sort of assist their knees upwards, and then from there, it takes probably about 30 seconds to sort of build the device. It gives you sort of audible cues as you're going through as well. All the legs are the same, the backrests are the same, so it's almost sort of impossible to get wrong, really. So you don't really need a degree in sort of biomechanics or sort of electrical engineering to put this thing together.
Right. And when you were mentioning about non-emergency falls, so that's where you wouldn't have a concern that somebody may have broken something, or how do you determine the user of this? How do they determine whether or not it's safe to use the product?
Well, it's about doing a sort of dynamic risk assessment. Some of the companies that we work with have created their own sort of risk assessment. So just in a few tick boxes of, has the fallen person lost consciousness? Is there any new pain? Is there any chance of a fracture? Anything like this? The Raizer's not used for times where somebody's got a broken hip or they've fallen and hit their head. It is that extra bit of assistance to get somebody off the ground.
Thank you for clarifying that. You're not directly supervising the person who is putting this together beneath or around a fallen person. How do you make sure it's being used safely?
Well, the Raizer 2 incorporates sort of multiple safety features to minimize risk,
So that's
especially for
built into the design of the
yeah,
product. Okay.
absolutely. Yeah. So there's a sort of amber light on the side. Until that goes green, it won't sort of operate at all. So until it's safe to do so, it won't use. So it really sort of it walks you through it each step of the way to make sure you're doing it correctly. And even if you get it wrong at some point, it won't lift unsafely. So when it's finally safe to use, there is a sort of a noise. It goes bada boom, and that means it's safe to go. So it's sort of like these built-in fail-safe mechanisms that basically means that you can be using this and you don't need supervision because it tells you when it's ready.
Right. That sounds very like a very important aspect of it. Have you heard of examples of this having been made a real change for people, been a real game changer?
Yeah, absolutely. Sort of on a weekly basis. One of the most recent ones, and probably one that stands out to me, is I visited a patient at home with a sort of occupational therapist to assess whether the Raizer chair would be suitable for both the patient and his family. After demonstration, we used the Raizer with the patient and his wife, and the patient was actually in tears, expressing that he wished he had the chair sort of 2 days earlier when he had a fall from his wheelchair near the back door, because as he didn't have the Raizer, he had to wait on the cold ground for an hour until his son arrived to help him back to his wheelchair. So it's the emotional impact that the Raizer has. It's not just the functionality of it. It gives people a bit of sort of independence and a bit of reassurance that if they do have a fall, they're not going to be stuck there on the ground for hours until the emergency services arrived, or if sort of family members don't live close by. Because yeah, it's a dignified solution basically in sort of care homes, hospitals, private homes, anything like that. It really has sort of more of an emotional impact rather than a sort of a functional one.
And I could see that it could also be useful for other environments such as hotels and things, because you don't know if somebody, you don't know the ages of anybody going in or the physical condition of somebody staying at a hotel. So I could see there could be a use there as well.
Yeah, honestly, anywhere there is a chance of a fall. So care homes, hospitals, retirement. We've got a lot of work going on retirement homes, currently assisted living facilities, hotels, cruise liners. There's no sort of end to where the Razor could be used, and it just saves, like say, you only get one back, and if people are hoiking people off the ground, this is where the Razor can be used and should be used really.
And how bulky is the kit? I mentioned it and described it as a kit of parts earlier. How
Yeah,
bulky, how much storage space do you need for this item?
absolute minimal. So it comes in two parts. You've got the backpack, which contains the legs and the backrests. That weighs about 4 kilograms, and like I say, it's a backpack, so it can go on your back. And then there's the seat unit, which weighs about 9 kilograms, and that can just be held down by your side. So in terms of storage spaces or transporting it, easily can be lifted and shifted by one person, and it can be just stored away in a corner. It doesn't require a whole load of space.
Right, and I think you even have the backpack becomes a cover for it as well, so it's not like there's just equipment sitting out all the time.
No, yeah, it's really neat, and yeah, it's stores away really nicely.
Just my final question is, we did a feature recently on bariatric needs, so I'm just wondering, is there a weight limit for the person that's being lifted?
Yes, so it weighs up to 150 kilograms is a safe working load. So it's sort of 331 pounds or 24 stone, depending on what sort of units you're working in. It shouldn't be used for patients above this weight, or those with sort of undetected injuries or anything like that. But you tend to find that up to 150 kilograms, yeah, it is super safe.
Right. Well, thank you so much. It's a prevalent senior living issue, and you guys have come up with a really, really elegant solution. Will, thank you for joining us.
No worries, thank you, Laurie.